Well, you've read the thumbnail right. Global Esports just announced their Valorant roster for 2026, and I think that it's a big piece of a team. It's such a big of a team with how the whole roster was made out. They've added a lot of pieces, sure, but no matter how I look at it, it still looks like a team to me. Anyway, you guys kept asking for this vid, and whether you like it or not, it's already out, so you'll just need to live with it.
Okay.
Welcome to snstry, and today we're talking about what I really think of global esports. Get ready to hear some hard truths because I'll be dropping some sleeper takes.
So let's start with how loaded the roster is, because right now you can see 6 players and then there's like 7 staff members. I think global esports went all in for the year. And let's look at the team first. It's really interesting to see that they have 6 players. So who's going to be the 6th man? I think I have read somewhere that's gonna be this guy, Darion, which when you look at it, he was the duelist for the team. Let's just go through it. And then Darion, and then he plays, oh, they're actually juggling stuff because now Darion was playing the sentinel role. So by the looks of it, if Darion is going to be the 6th man, how it's gonna go is that Udo Tan would be the duelist, Batman the flash initiator, and then Crystal the scans, Autumn as the sentinel, and Xavi as the controller because he's the IGL. You know, we got like Valen, Boaster in the smokes role while being an IGL. So yeah, I think Xavi would flex to the controller role, even though he has not played a lot of controller. So it would be a challenge to see, but yeah, that's how I think the roles would go. And so now that we're done with the roster, let's look at the staff because they just loaded it up. They got Frost, Balax, I'm not familiar with the guy, Vladkor, I've heard him before, but yeah. Platoon is actually the GOAT, one of my favorite channels here on YouTube. Anyway, the main focus that we have here is Frost, right? Because we could see what he did with a team that had language barriers and all that stuff, right? We can now see Frost in all his glory. There will be no language barriers anymore, and this is not a young team as well. Like, I'm pretty sure Xavi is a new guy, but I'm pretty sure he's not that young.
Now, Frost can put his money where his mouth is and add even more to his long list of accolades.
So I find it really interesting that they have a captain and an IGL. Every team does have, but I guess the thing is that they pointed it out. They made it specifically clear that they have a captain and then another player at the IGL role. Basically, every team has a captain and an IGL, but usually both roles are always taken by one player. So yeah. And the reason for this maybe because Xavi, coming in from tier 2 and it's his first time on tier 1, does not have the tenure that Autumn or Crystal have in the tier 1 scene. So maybe it has something to do with being in command, because Xavi is from tier 2. The overall knowledge to lead a team might be not there yet. Maybe that's why there's a separation of the roles. So I guess how it would go is that Xavi would be the one who's commanding the team in terms of in-game strategies, and then Autumn will be the one who's commanding the boys, like emotionally, maybe some sort of the vibes guy and like leading the team, how to approach things, something like that, because usually you have one and there's a reason behind that. I mean, we may have seen this before a couple of times, maybe like John Curie and Celsius back then. Like John Curie was in charge of the strats inside the game, but you know that Celsius was the guy who was handling the other stuff emotionally. You know what I'm saying. But the thing that I want to ask now is if this formula is going to work, because there's a reason why for the longest time esports teams, not only in Valorant but in other games as well, have had always one designated leader in a team. And I think it's because decision making in clutch moments need to be fast. And I'm not saying that adding in a separate captain role would slow things down, but Autumn was a former IGL as well, and there might be some moments that conflicts will arise or something like that. I'm just hoping that the roles are crystal clear so that they can avoid any kind of overlaps or disagreements or whatever in the comms. So yeah. So we have discussed the roster and the staff, and I think now it's time to discuss how this team would measure against the other teams in Pacific, because we all know Pacific is so deep right now, and even though this team has great potential, it's kind of hard to see if they would actually make it out of Pacific. And usually a tier list is a video for another day, but I would make an exception today. And so let's get into it. So here we have the Pacific teams for 2026. So let's start ranking them. So basically DFM would go the D tier for me, DRX on A, Full Sense. In a sense, this is still Talon and they beat DRX on Pacific. So basically they should be higher than DRX. Global, let's save it for later. Genji would be a C tier for me. The departure of Munchkin and Foxy9 is, I think, too much. It's hard to replace those two, and they didn't perform that well last year. And so going in this year, I think it's going to be a worst year for them. Nongshim, I don't have anything much to say about them. They're back in the league, but yeah, this is SLT, right? They had a better tournament in Ascension compared to Nongshim, so I'm putting them above Nongshim. Then PRX, well, no question, these guys are at the top. And now you might find this controversial, but I'm pretty sure RRQ didn't make any changes at all. So in terms of chemistry, they are still intact. Seems to be in good hands with the coaching of Jovi. So yeah, as for T1, I'm putting them on the A tier. They didn't do well at the latter half of the season, and they changed a guy, so dynamics would change overall. So yeah, and is that the way to go? Full Sense higher than T1? Well, it's really hard to predict right now. So this is just a baseline or a rough draft of picks that I have for Pacific. Anyway, moving on to Secret, of course, no question about that. Then Zeta, I would put them on F, but they hired Mini recently, so that could change things. So yeah. Lastly, we have Global. And I think you already know where I'm going with this. I specifically cleared up that tier solely for Global Esports, and so they're going on the B tier. I bleeped out something earlier and I also censored it in the thumbnail. But basically what I'm trying to say is that Global Esports is my sleeper kind of team. They pretty much have a shot going into internationals, maybe except on the first one because there's only 3 teams qualifying for it. So pretty much that's going to be, I think, PaperX and any of these 3. But in terms of Masters 2 and Champions, there's going to be 4 teams qualifying, and I think Global has a shot on getting one of the spots for those tournaments. So yeah, I would even consider them in the A tier, but they're a new team. Yeah, I think there are 3 guys that are new in the team, so yeah, they still need to build chemistry and all of that, and maybe they could go to A tier, you know. But overall, it's really a good lineup, a good team, because they have the potential. Like if you look at it here, a nice set of players, you know. All they need to do is to be able to mesh well, chemistry and all that. You have the experience of Batman as a Masters champion. Then you got experience of this guy as a veteran on the league, and then you got fresh blood. Actually, it's a nice combination. You also have Crystal. He's also an IGL, right? Like they have 3 IGLs here, so they won't be lacking on strats or anything like that. But yeah, the only thing that I would nitpick from this team is probably the duelist, which is Udotan, because I have not really seen any much from him. But maybe he's just waiting for a nice or a really good system. And with these lineup, Batman, Autumn, Frost, Crystal and Xavi, I'm pretty sure these guys can flex on whatever role they want. And if you can leave Udotan on the duelist and not flexing from duelist to sentinel duelist back and forth, maybe he can focus and lock in, and by doing that he can actually reach his full potential and be a great duelist for the team. So yeah, so basically to summarize it up, actually Global could go in the A tier, but I think this is a brand new team. But yeah, they're basically a sleeper team in my books. And so with that, let's go to the next. I think I already said this earlier that this is GE's make or break season. They went all in with this, like these staff and then these players. Like wow man, I'm really excited to see how it pans out. I guess they want to stay in the league, and by doing this, they want to win trophies. I think that's how it goes. So what do you guys think about this team? And yeah, this video is finally out, so now you guys can stop hunting me down on it. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed, hit that sub button so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.